Hello, back again to do another unboxing and review. Today we're going to be looking at this smaller form factor mechanical gaming keyboard. This comes from a company called Mamba Snake, and this is the Magic Refiner MK14 68 key layout. So this comes in a couple different options. The primary color, I chose black, although I can believe you can get white and also some other colors. And then also you have the option for RGB or not. Of course I got RGB. And then also you can get different switch options, meaning how do the keys feel and sound when you press them. Alright, so with that out of the way, this keyboard I did have it imported. So what it's going to cost is going to, especially now, is going to vary from who you get it from and how you get it. But so I have some pretty good specs, so hopefully we'll see that later on in the review. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look here. You saw the front, and then the back has the same basic picture. And then on the side here, alright, so you can see that's what it's compatible with. And alright, there's who it's from, who makes it. And then here are your options. If I remember my Chinese characters, the first row there seems to be the body color of the unit. Black is selected. The next option is white, and then, yeah, okay. On the second row there, well, RGB, I guess that transcends the language boundaries, right? RGB stays RGB, even apparently in China, so we know what that's about. And then the next line, I'm thinking that is the switch type. The first one says black is for black switches. The second is green, so I guess I got green switches. Then there's red, and I don't remember that character. In the comments, you can tell me if I'm mixing any of this up. And the bottom line, I'm actually not sure, but anyway, I got that left option. Alright, so overall impressions of the packaging, yeah, it's fine. We got a nice colored photo up front, and same thing shared on the back. Helps with stocking, so you can put it either way on the shelf. Also, there is English translation is good enough. I mean, there's not a lot of stuff to read on the box. That's one thing I wish they had more, like specs and whatnot. But I guess the important stuff is there. So also the box held the item relatively securely because I don't see any damage, and it feels actually pretty full. The item doesn't really shake around much in there, so it looks like the box definitely did pass the test. So now let's get to the unboxing. Okay, so only thing holding it were these two little flaps, which I pulled out. There was no stickers or anything like that. Okay, so we can see it comes wrapped in a little styrofoam bag. Oh yeah, mechanical switches for sure. Alright, I'll lift her out. There's our cable. Okay. Oops, there's one more thing in there. Yep, a key puller, so you can pull off the little caps. Alright. And yeah, that's it. Alright. So let me, we'll look at the accessories first here. So this keyboard is wired. It goes from Type C to USB A. So, yep. Alright. Get a user manual. Alright. I'll flip through that later. And now let's look at the key. Alright. This has actually a decent amount of weight to it, so that's a good sign. It does not feel cheap at all, which is great. Okay, on the back. Alright, so here we have a nice little like silicone little shoe so it doesn't slip. The legs. Let me pick this up. So yeah, okay. So the legs do flip out. They're two position, down or out. But they do have a nice positive click when they are in place. Yep. Okay. Alright. And then where the cable connects. So, yep, Type-C into the keyboard. USB-A into your PC. Alright, so here's a side profile, so you can see how the keys are arranged. They kind of curve, and if you notice these keys here, the ones on your right, you can see how they're angled towards kind of the center of the keyboard, so that's pretty interesting. And then the ones on the top are somewhat angled back towards the center, so you kind of get like a little bowl type overall shape going there as far as the curvature of the key tops. Alright, so I went ahead and measured it to give you some idea of the dimensions here. So from side to side, it's 1 foot. From front to back, it's 4 inches. And then from the bottom up, it is 1.5 inches. So, nice compact package. Alright, so now let's go ahead and hear what the keys sound like. Okay, so that's definitely a click, audible click, and they feel good too. All right, let's see with the space bar. Okay. All right, so far looking great. I'll read the directions and then hook it up. All right, so I went ahead and plugged it in, and I was greeted with this beautiful display here. Now, we're going to go into it. There are so many modes, lighting options. It's actually kind of crazy, but in a good way. So, anyway, so this is what we'll call like your default illumination setting, right? You got this kind of cool gradient. And just to show you how cool this is, in lesser keyboards, these keys here, they're beautiful in blue, but then those would be pretty much set to be blue. You could do different things with lighting, but like for example, this H here would always be blue. Not in this case. Every one of these keys can be any color. What you're seeing here is just one of the displays. What that lets us know is that each one of these keys has true RGB, right? Now to go down here, kind of look at the way, so you can see how much light emanates from the bottom and the sides, kind of gives it that real cool underglow type effect. And so yeah, that's another cool plus right there. Now if you, there's so many modes, we'll kind of start with the more basic and work our way up to the more advanced. So we'll start with the most basic. If you should want to turn off the lights, you can achieve that by function backspace, and then the lights go off. Now if you want them back on, which we definitely do, function backspace again. Alright, but let's say you are a big fan of one color, and so yeah, let's just go ahead and change the color. So we can go ahead and function page down, I believe. There you go. So now you're all red, and of course you can cycle through the different colors. Alright, so we're back here. Alright, so again, that's just one type of thing you can do. Now let's get into some of the more what they call dynamic. These are kind of like your light show modes. So to do that, let me see. Alright, so I had to put the camera down so I could do something with 2 hands. But anyway, to get to the next mode, or like dynamic light display, you hold down function and then tap tab key. Alright, so I've already done that one time, and so the effect I got for this one is this. When you push a key, it does that. Pretty cool. Alright, now for the next mode. Alright, so this mode. Pretty cool. Alright, so here we are on the next one. Alright, here's the next one. Very colorful. Alright. And then there's this quite busy one here. Definitely attention grabbing. Alright, what's next? Alright. Alright, and now we have this, looks like a wave that seems to emanate from the middle and then go out to the sides. Alright. Alright, now we have this. Alright. And then we have this. Wow. Yeah, that one's kind of hypnotic. Huh. So this one's kind of calming. A little less chaotic than the previous one. Alright, so then now we landed on this one, which, we'll see if it does anything. Okay, so is it just steady pink? Alright, let's see what the next one is. Okay. So we're back to this motion, and yeah, I like this one. This one's definitely colorful, but not super distracting. A little more soothing. Alright, next. Okay, so now we kind of have a rainbow kind of wave thing going here. Oh, okay, I see. So, yeah, it kind of shifts from one color to the next as it goes off, so you get each color going by. Instead of a rainbow, you get a kind of a all green, all blue, as a kind of wash from side to side. Alright, nifty. Okay. Kind of a rainbow chase, kind of in a circle. Alright. Alright, so we have the whole keyboard one color, and it kind of shifts from one color to the next, kind of in a breathing type deal. Alright, I like that. I think I'll use one of that. That's a pretty cool one. Alright, what's... Okay, so this looks kind of like the main light display, but this one is pulsating. But the colors stay in the designated area, we'll say. Alright, and we're back to the main display. So, that's quite a bit. And there's more. Alright, and what I meant when I said there's more is that you can go to one of the light show modes that has like a sense of direction. In this case, you can see how it's kind of swiping from left to right as it changes the colors. Alright, you can change the direction by holding down function and tapping delete. And you can see it's going right to left. And we'll change it again. Alright, so now we're going into the more complex light mode, and this has to do with customization. And customization of what? Customization of your game mode. Now what that means is when we go to game mode, certain keys will be illuminated and others will not. So let's first get to game mode, and then I'll show you how to customize it. So to get to game mode, you hold down function and tap G. G for game mode, that's easy to remember. Okay, and then you'll see these keys are illuminated. Now this is what the keyboard comes pre-programmed out of the box, and this is a start. We can change this, but this is what it will come to begin with. So you see they have illuminated WASD and also the arrow keys. But let's say you don't want these keys illuminated and you want other keys illuminated, or you do want these illuminated but you want them to be a different color. We can do it all here. So what we'll do is first we have to go to customize. We have to go in what's called record mode. To get to record mode, you hold down function and tap page up. When you do that, you'll see that this key now is illuminating. Cap locks is flashing. That's letting you know you're in record mode. And as long as that's flashing, you're still in record mode. while you're in record mode, none of the keys you push will do anything because you're recording. You're not actually inputting at this point. So what we'll do at this point is we'll go ahead and what do you want to do? We want to, okay, let's just hit a key. It doesn't do anything. So you're thinking, wait, what's up? Well, you have to, this is when I say you're in record mode. Now we have to select the color we want. So to do that, you hold down function and push page down. Now you'll notice that key is illuminated. What that is telling you, this is the color that now whatever key you push now on will become, right? So we have red there, so let's just try it. Push a key, ooh, there we go, see, it turns red. Alright, and okay, now let's say you like that, but you want other keys illuminated, and you don't want those to be red. So you want the next keys we put to be a different color. So what you'll do is go down to hold down function again, tap page down, and you'll notice how the page up key has now changed to a different color. Once again, indicating what color you will turn the keys when you push them from now on. I want, let's see, let's go, yeah, green. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and make some keys green. Okay. At this point, but you're thinking, I actually, now that I think about it, I don't want these keys illuminated at all. So how can we take them off? Or let's say you wanted to make the J a green. You can just take a key that's already lit and just hit it, and now it'll become green too. But again, let's say we don't want any of these 4 keys here to be illuminated. So how do we basically darken them out? And once again, we're going to hit function, and now remember page down. And we go and wait until the page up key is dark. Now this is kind of like erase if you want to think of it like that. And now you can tap keys and no. So there you go. Alright, then let's take function down too. Okay, so you will do whichever you want. This is a great way of going ahead and selecting. You can group keys. So like let's say you want your movement keys to be green. So function, page down, go to green, and then now you can make these all green. See? So this is a good way of, and then you can maybe make movement green, red attack, maybe inventory blue, or, yeah. Alright, so then you get what you want. How do you lock it in? You go ahead and hit function, and then page up. And then now that key disappears, so now you're done with record mode, and you're ready to go. So here's the typing test and also the sound the keys make together. Alright, here we go. Alright, so just got done doing a session of gaming, played some Cyberpunk 2077, and the keyboard actually worked quite well. I was impressed. So I did use game mode, and I did select all my colors of my keys, and actually that really is probably more handy than most people give it credit. So I did like that, and of course I love the fact that you can actually do not just what keys but what color too. That's a big plus. All right, now let's talk about the key feel. The keys, the green switches, they provide enough resistance that you can actually kind of lay your fingers on the keys in kind of like a standby mode, if you want to call it that, and then when you're ready you can actually hit the correct key. So that's a good thing about the green switches, that there is enough pushback that you don't have to worry about misfiring, because you hit the button before you're ready. Yeah, you actually have to intend to push it to get it to go. So that's good. So I like the green switches for that. Now, let's also talk about the clicking noise. So I purposely played without headphones because I wanted to see just how much the clicking, click, click, click noise would interfere with my game experience, and it wasn't bad. So, but that could be for a couple reasons. First of all, I kind of like clicky switches, so they don't bug me. Maybe if you don't, you might not want to get green. You might get a different color. But the clicking isn't that bad, especially if you have I had the speakers going, so you can kind of still hear the clicking over the game if you're using speakers and they're not super loud. However, since for me it kind of works as like another feedback, there's obviously the tactile feel of the keys, but the click also works as a kind of a confirmation, so it doesn't bug me too much. But it is audible, but even if you get the green switches, don't like them, just put on your headphones and you're not going to be hearing the clicks. Alright, so now let's talk about the size of the keyboard. The keyboard, obviously it's not a full-size keyboard, and it's not a mini keyboard either, so it's kind of in the middle. We'll call it compact. Alright, and it worked because for at least when I play Cyberpunk, right hand's on the mouse and then my left hand is using the keyboard. So with this size, there's still enough room for me to kind of move my hand around without feeling too cramped. So at least for one hand on mouse, one hand on the keyboard, this size is still adequate, I would say, for gaming. Okay, now that we've covered gaming, let's go ahead and talk about some of the like the surfing or multimedia functions of the keyboard. There are actually quite a few shortcuts here, and you can of course check the manual to see all the many shortcuts there are. And there are also a lot of keys that have like little symbols in case you forget. You can kind of jog your memory with the symbols. So there is that, and I tested a few of them and they worked. So that's good. So far, it seems to be really well built, so I'm happy to report that. It has that heft, which is not only makes it feel like it's probably better made, but it also stops it from sliding all over the table. And it does have the rubber shoes, but again, the weight does help with keeping it still as well. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about a couple benefits of this. First of all, the size. This is, at being only a foot long, you can easily put this in like a backpack, so it has a lot more portability, obviously, than a full-size keyboard. And the other thing is this Type-C cable that's removable. Actually, this is one of the keyboards that only one of the keyboards I have that has this Type-C removal. All my other ones have the key wire, obviously, fixed to the keyboard, and then the other end you attach to whatever your PC, you get it. So this one, with having it be removable, is actually pretty cool, because again, you can take it out, and during travel, you don't have to worry about cord management. Well, I mean, you just take the cord separate, wrap it up, and then put it maybe in the front pocket of your backpack, and then the keyboard can go in the back. So that is helpful that you can separate them, and it also makes it a lot tighter, or more tidy. So that's another thing. So, alright, now that we've covered that, I'm going to go into a disclaimer, and then we'll get to the conclusion. Okay, here's the disclaimer. As far as use, I've only used this for today. So I can't really say how well this will hold up, year after year. If I do later on find out that this thing, I don't know, the keys come off after 3 months of use, I'll definitely leave that in the comments a little later. But so far, I think it's okay. Now, why am I doing? I usually would obviously use the keyboard for more before I put out the review. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to make sure that if you are interested in getting this, you have time, because as with everything that's going on right now, these might get really hard to get, just because, well, you can fill in the blanks. Look at the date of recording this and you'll understand what I'm getting at. So I wanted to get this out there so you can, if you jump on it, if you want it. Alright, so with all that being said, my conclusion of this is I'm actually really impressed with it. It's more than I thought it would be, and it feels good, well made, and yeah, I'm actually very happy I got this. So that's that.